So have you ever been in the middle of a storm, but you were trying to get to the other side and you knew that there was something greater, but this storm, this circumstance, this issue, this sickness, this whatever had you doubting? Well, let's talk about how to get through to the other side with God and peacefully. And so, welcome to Bible Style. And the style stands for having success through you, Lord, every day. Because, boy, just going outside, dealing with people, you can have all kind of things that come up in the day. But the thing that it is, like with you all the time, is God and your ability to be able to say that, yes, I am going through this and I recognize that, but I am not going through this alone. Why? Because God is by my side and around me and everything and sees all the pieces that are going on. And so for me to have joy even during the circumstance. And I'm reminded as I say that, like, especially still dealing like, and I don't think this ever go away, but like my hurt from my grandmother, like I miss her dearly. And one day I will have a talk about this. But I actually had an experience that has really helped me with just the feelings I have with missing her. But when we think about the things that we go through, and even just our daily lives, we might be like, okay, I just need to get to the other side. I just need to get to this place. I need to just get over there, right? And in the present, which now the present is over, right? You have the past and the future. And even though I'm speaking right now, I'm in the past, but actually what I just said is now in the past. I mean, I'm in the future, but actually what I just said is now in the past. And it's interesting to me. But the regardless of that is just staying and saying, I'm not gonna worry. I'm not gonna allow myself now. That doesn't mean I'm not going to think about it. Doesn't mean it's not going to bother me, but to have that joy in God and knowing that all things work together all things work together. And so I'm going to read this to you, and talking about when Jesus calms the storm, right? And so let me grab my laptop. I'm going to read it verbatim. And I encourage you also. And so I didn't grow up in church. I started going to church when I was about 17, learned about God. And as I continued to just get older, studying the Bible, I didn't understand it, but I'm like, let me read anyway. I found some creative ways to help me learn. And then I started learning about different things in the Bible and how it matched my life and how it helped me like navigate. And then in the last maybe year, 6 months, time is flying. I was introduced to Myron Golden, and oh my gosh, he helped other things pop out. And now, because of the lessons that he's shown me, that now I'm applying that to as I'm reading the Bible, and it's jumping out even more, and I'm seeing just life lessons. And because the Bible is basic instructions before leaving earth, right? So I'm seeing how it applies to business and me personally as a wife and a mom. And just anyway, it just has a lot of strategy, and it's so good, right? So it's good to me. I love it. And so, okay, Mark 4:35. Make sure you go read this for yourself. Again, I said all that just to say that I am still on my journey of understanding the Bible, and it's really important for you to understand it for yourself, and to also double check what other people say, because I'm interpreting this way. You may interpret it, but I want to share this with you on your journey. Okay, so 35. That day when evening came, he said to his disciples, let us go over to the other side. Leaving the crowd behind, they took him along just as he was in the boat. There were also other boats with him. A furious squall came up, and the waves broke over the boat so that it was nearly swamped. Jesus was in a stern, sleeping on a cushion. the disciples woke him up and said to him, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" He got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the waves, "Quiet, be still." Then the wind died down and it was completely calm. So I am in the middle of one of my launches and I go to the word even more when I am launching. I do my best to do what I can every day anyway, but I need that guidance, not just then. And so it's not like I'm just turning to God then, but even more, it seems like, or when something's going on, I'm just making sure that I continue to read. So this stood out to me. And then Myron Golden, he actually has a success principles of the Bible. And so I'll link that here. Definitely go check that out because he explains it so much in detail. But when he talked about Jesus, like in the bottom of the boat and then sleeping on a pillow, sleeping on a cushion during a storm, I was like, I have to go back to this and see what I did not process prior to reading this, because that was so fascinating to me in the current state that I am, because there's a lot of moving pieces. There's a lot of people, a lot of emotions, a lot of things, and there's one vision and mission, right? And so making sure all those pieces are together, and it requires a different way for me to lead, and not from, I'll talk about that. This ain't about that. I'll talk about that later, but it requires of me. And so the thing about it is I can't be running around worried. And so I have the blueprint. I've done this many a times, and God is always the leader of it. And so it reminds me to rest and to be still in certain ways that I communicate. And so that made me, once I heard him talk about this, it made me like run to this, and I'm gonna continue to study on this. But just think, so first off, it's saying, let us go over to the other side. So as these goals and things we have that we want to do, and it's like, oh, I'll just get that done. Like, oh, okay. But the other side was actually, they had to actually take a boat. So the thing about it is the resources that they were able to use, and then they went together, but then they still had this storm. And it was like, it was fine one moment, and then it was a storm. So that reminds me of how life, like how it's fine one moment, then it's not. And then you have all these other things in between. And regardless of what it is, Jesus is on the boat with you, right? He's on the boat. He hasn't went anywhere. So Jesus is on the boat. Jesus is with you. Jesus is omnipresent. God is omnipresent. Like God is with you. And so I associate Jesus as God too, right? And so I'm still on my journey. If you have any additional comments or something like that that is helpful to others on this journey as well, add them below, if it's in light and love. And so anyway, I pray that I'm able to communicate this in a way, and I apologize, I should have prayed first. But Lord, thank you so much for this word that I am receiving and downloading, that I'm sharing. I only want to share what you want me to share. I only want to say what you want me to say. I only want to magnify your glory and your name as I am discussing this. And I pray that it is helpful to someone else who watches this on their journey. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Okay, so wow. And then it says, leaving the crowd behind. So there's some places that you're going to go that you're going to have to go by yourself, or with a new group of people, or a select group of people. And so you have to determine who that is, but that discernment that God is going to give you is there, and God is there. And even if you had to go by yourself, God is there. So you are never alone. And it says Jesus went in the stern, so at the bottom, and is sleeping on a cushion. So is the cushion a pillow? Is the cushion a cushion? What kind of cushion is it? It don't even matter. Why? Because this cushion is soft, right? So Jesus is comfortable, sleeping, had to be in a good sleep for it to be a storm, right? And so that just again reminds us to rest, to take care, to be calm, to know that everything is going to work out in the midst of those storms and things, those things that we experience. Then the disciples woke him up and said to him, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" And I get it, because I ask God questions all the time, right? I ask God questions all the time. I also like say, "Hey God, I know that you know that I need this." What's up? I also have these conversations, right? But I also have conversations of, God, I know that I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I know that you have set out great things for me, right? I know, like I'm like saying things to in my mind that I am reading that I know are a fact, that I know are true. And so those things help me in my prayer and how I navigate in the world. And so he got up, right? Rebuked the wind and said to the waves. And I love when Myron talked about this, because he rebuked the wind, right? So kind of, just put a stop to the wind, right? And said to the waves. So he didn't even bother to speak to the wind, right? The wind was more like a distraction. So what's the distraction in my life? I have to ask myself, what's the distraction that I'm focusing on, right? And I'm speaking to the wrong thing. So what is something that is a distraction in your life that you're focused on? And he said to the waves, "Quiet, be still." He said that to the waves, but didn't bother to say that to the wind, because it wasn't even worth it saying it to the wind, right? He just immediately. Okay. He got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the waves, "Quiet, be still." That reminds me how I need to parent my child. Anyway, whole nother conversation. I don't even know if that got anything to do with this, but that popped in my head. But that certainty, that sternness, that like, who you are, show up in your power and deliver that, right? And so then the wind died down and it was completely calm. Then the wind died down and it was completely calm. So it's reminding me again on, like, where am I focused? So as I'm in the middle of a goal or a launch, what am I focusing on that's taking me away from the transformation, the inspiration behind it, the heart behind it, the reason I'm doing this, the God in it, right? The love, what am I focused on? Am I focused on the naysayers, people who telling me no, the grants that are not getting funded, the sponsors who are either ghosting us, gaslighting us, or are giving us the runaround, or not even sending a proposal because whatever issues they have going on, right? The many no's. Am I focused on, oh, it's raining, I can't do XYZ? Am I focused on the storm? Am I focused on all these other things versus what God told me, versus what God showed me? And how am I operating in this, right? And so it reminds me again, I love the fact that Jesus was on that pillow, like sleeping on the pillow, on the cushion. It's a cushion. I love the fact that Jesus was sleeping on the cushion. I love it. It's a reminder of that peace in the midst of whatever it is that you're going through. So I pray that this was helpful to you, and I know it's helpful to me. One of my goals is to keep spreading light and love, encouraging others to go after their goals and dreams, and to build legacy for them, their families, and others, right? Bringing others along the journey, helping others through your ideas. And so this passage really blessed me. So I really want to thank Myron Golden for being a light in the world and helping others like me to be able to continue to share what we do, and also see the biblical stories as another way to navigate off biblical principles. So Jesus, when it was in the stern, sleeping on a cushion during the storm. So I pray that you sleep exceptionally well. Yes, that is going on. Yes, that's happened. Yes, that you acknowledge that, right? However, that does not define you. That is only stopping you. That's stopping you from getting to that next, right? Because they left the crowd behind and Jesus said, let us go on to over to the other side. So what is the other side for you? And don't let this storm, this circumstance, this middle or new place or frustrating place or whatever, however you define it, don't let it keep you from going to the other side. All right, so I'm about to get back off so I can go be with my family. But this is Bible style. The style stands for having success through you, Lord, every day. And so that starts with, for me, opening up my Bible, learning more so it helps me navigate as I do more things and create more impact in the world. All right, lots of love. And this is Denisha Ferguson with Bible Style. Talk to you soon.